I heard once that they would rather hear about memories than enemies, rather hear what was or what will be than what is, rather hear how you got it over how much it cost you, rather hear about finding yourself and how you lost you. Rather you make this an open letter about family and struggle and it taking forever, about hearts that you broken and ties that you severed. No doubt in my mind, that'll make them feel better. And with that being said, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Anthony, but I also go by Icy or Lalo. And I'm nervous. This is the first time that I'm recording myself for a YouTube channel that I decided to start. I had a microphone and I did sound way better on it, but then for some reason it had like this high-pitched sound in the background and it was really distracting. So I'm hoping I'm sounding good enough where you guys can hear me. A lot of nerves. Okay, so I decided to start this YouTube project because I had always wanted to tell my story. I'm sorry, hold on. I got this. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been through enough in my life to where I feel comfortable wanting to share, my story, my struggle, my experiences, my ideas, I actually been wanting to do something like this for a really long time, probably for about 10 years now, because when I was 18, when I was a senior in high school, I wanted to write a book, and I started writing it, and it was going pretty good, but it was a different approach, it was about one person in particular, that made a big impact in my life, and I didn't want my story to be about that person's story, like I wanted to share my story, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this, it's not gonna work. So I stopped doing it. I deleted the book, and I was really young at that time too, and I was like, there's so much more to live, so much more things to learn, to do, to go through before I can write something like that, But I've always liked to write, and that's something I always felt creative doing, was writing, whether it's like stories or poems or, journal entries and stuff like that. Yeah, and then 5 years after that, I remember I tried to write a book again. Like, it was more like a memoir thing, because I had lived a little bit more, and so when I started writing that, sorry, I keep saying it was difficult because it was difficult because I realized how much work it takes to write a book. You have to really focus on the words you use, the way you use it in sentences to where people can understand it. It's hard to get your emotion across in writing because someone could read something and be like, well, he didn't sound sad there, or he didn't sound like, they kind of make their own assumption of what your emotion was at that time. So it's kind of hard to get your emotions across, So, and then you have to think about like, editing and publishing and stuff like that, the book itself. And I think it's a lot compared to something like this, And so yeah, I stopped doing that, and then another 5 years later, here I am, like I was like, okay, a lot of people are not reading books as much as they used to, and I know social media is a big thing, and so is YouTube. I myself, I follow YouTubers, and there was this one guy. His name is Alex, um, and he did videos like this where he would, you know, talk about life and his life and things that were happening, you know, and his opinions and his feelings about it. And it was very inspirational because I looked at it, you know, I would look at these, I would watch these videos and I'd be like, you know, I really can see myself doing something like this, you know. I think the biggest problem was that I never imagined, I never thought I would record myself. You know, I was like, no, I could never do that, you know, because I don't like the way I look on camera. You know, I've been recording videos and I'm just like, oh my God, is that me? Is that how people see me? You know, like, and I sound different, you know, and I'm a very self-conscious person. And that's the whole reason one of the main reasons I'm doing this is because I want to overcome that. Not too long ago, I was reading this book. It's called True Love, and it's by Jennifer Lopez, and it's kind of her memoir, you know. And in it, she mentioned something along the lines of learning to love yourself. And for me, I took that very profoundly. I don't know how to say it. It's like when I read that part, when I came across that part when she mentioned about learning to love yourself, it was like a light bulb, you know, went off in my head. I was like, okay, wow. I never kind of sat back and asked myself, do I love me, you know? And it became really deep. It became like this movement all of a sudden. I was like, wow. You know, I always felt like something was missing in my life. You know, and I'm very young, and I know I have so much more to live still. But I'm a person that likes to learn about myself and about other people. You know, it's an interest I've always had since I was like young, since I was a kid, you know. So like, you know, like self-discovery, self-aware, things like that. I think it helps me grow. It, you know, it helps me become a better person. Anyways, so yeah, when I asked myself that question, you know, do I love myself? I was really disappointed because I was like, okay, I don't, you know, there's so many things that I didn't like about me, you know, that some of the things I actually hated about myself, you know, and things I wondered why, you know, and it made me realize, like, it was like it was a big picture that I seen. I was like, okay, maybe this is why. Sorry, I'm not making any sense. I'm kind of just going from whatever comes to my head right now. And I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna get this. Yeah, I always felt like something was missing in my life. You know, I've never felt complete. You know, I never felt happy the way I should feel like I should be happy. You know. For an example, I am a lover of love. I love love, and I love getting to know people. I love dating and being in a relationship. That's something that it's like a dream of mine, you know, to be the perfect person. And I've dated people, and you know, a lot of them didn't work out, and I was always thinking like, you know, I would always try to, like, it would always be that person's fault, you know, be like, okay, it didn't work out because they were like this and they did this and they said that. And you know, I never kind of stepped back and be like, okay, wait a minute, I'm also in this relationship, you know, I'm also with this person. There's something that I'm contributing that is another reason why I'm not making it work out, you know. That reason was because I didn't love myself. That reason is because I'm very self-conscious, you know. And So those are the reasons why those relationships didn't work out, you know. And I had to go back and figure out, like, okay, why is it that I don't love myself? You know, where did it come from? And I feel like doing this YouTube channel, doing this video, it's gonna help me. It's gonna help me, and hopefully it'll help someone else, you know. So there's many reasons why I decided to do this this YouTube. First reason, main reason, is because of me. Like, I want to do this for myself. I want to be able to look back on something like this and be like, okay, I remember when I learned it. I remember when I went through that, you know, and I remember it's like a it's like you look at things like, okay, that was a lesson I learned, you know, and it's like it's recorded. It's like a journal. This is like a video journal in a way, like a memoir, you know. Excuse me. Yeah, it's almost like a photo album or a, you know, a journal, like a writing journal, like, but it's video, and I could, you know, I want to see myself talk. I want to hear the things that I talk about, because I feel like a lot of it is in here, you know, in my mind, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it shouldn't always have to be where I feel like I have to tell someone, you know. It should be about me telling myself, because sometimes there's things that I don't want to share with someone else, you know, and have a response back. Sometimes I just want to vent, or, you know, I want to share some, and I want to be able to listen to myself. Yeah, so that's one of the main reasons why I want to do this. And another reason, you know, I mean, the goal isn't to like become like this, you know, YouTube sensation thing, you know. I mean, it's great. I love people that really dedicate themselves to it, and it really, they go, you know, it becomes successful. I'm not expecting that, you know. I'm not expecting like lots of subscribers and comments and likes and all that, you know. I think that'll be great to have that, you know. I would love that, but that isn't my goal. My goal is to share my story, and to you know, help, like, share my story for helping myself, and also hoping that it could, someone could watch this and relate to me, you know, in some way, and it helping them, you know. Because it's a great feeling, you know. It brings me a lot of joy, like, in my heart, like, to know that I could help someone in some way, you know, even if it's just one person, you know. That's all it takes. I think that it makes a difference, you know. Yeah, so there's several reasons why I decided to do this. And I want to talk about different things, you know. I want to talk about, I don't want this to be like a okay, so when I was 2, and then this happened, and then when I was 3, and then this happened, and I don't want it to be like that kind of story, you know. It's more going to be about, you know, big events, things that had happened in my life that were made a very big impact in my life, whether it be a person, an incident, you know, good, bad. I don't want this to be like a sad story. It's not like a depressing, you know, thing like that. It's just gonna, you know, very important things that happened to my life, and that I would like to share. So there might be videos like this where I'm just like rambling, you know, just talking about. Sorry, I keep fixing my shirt. I don't know. Yeah, just, you know, different things. I'll talk about certain people, you know, that I've met that made me see things differently, the world differently, myself differently, family members, friends, lovers, you know. And it doesn't have to be about people too. It could be about, you know, certain things that had happened, you know, in my life. But yeah, and I also don't want this to come off in a way where it feels like I'm preaching to anyone. I don't want to, you know, act like I'm this person that knows everything. I don't know everything. Yeah, I don't want to be like, okay, so this is what's right and this is what's wrong and this is how you're supposed to live and this is what you got to, you know, I don't want to do that. I just kind of want to, you know, share my story. I keep looking this way because my phone is over here and the lens is right there. So I'm going to try to keep my eyes on the lens. But, you know, this is all practice. This is my first video, so hopefully it goes okay, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, these are the reasons why I want to do this. And first and foremost is for myself, you know. There's this word that I'm probably going to call my YouTube channel, well, obviously my YouTube channel is going to be my name, Anthony IC Lalo, you know. Oh, and also, I do want to explain what those, you know, where those IC and Lalo came from. You know, those nicknames, they have a very deep meaning, and they're very important, you know, to this whole YouTube channel thing. And I'm excited and I can't wait to share, you know, what those names mean to me. Sorry, I was gonna kind of fix myself. I'm very self-conscious, and that's why I'm doing this, you know. I want to overcome that. I don't, you know, I want to learn to like me. I want to get to know myself. I want to learn to love me, you know. Anyways, back to that word I was gonna say. The word of the day, the word of the month, the word of the year, the word of my life is Ámate, which means love yourself in Spanish. I'm planning to get it tatted somewhere, maybe on my shoulder, I don't know, something like that. That word means a lot to me, and the reason I say it in Spanish is because I feel like it has more emotion, you know, more deep meaning to it, more feel. Like it's like, you know, Ámate, you know, like love yourself, you know. So that's definitely the theme for this YouTube channel. Another thing, I'm not sure, you know, how long I want these videos to be. Right now it says 16 minutes, but I know I shouldn't be worrying about that. I'm gonna try to figure out how to crop and, you know, edit these. This is the first time, you know, to do this, so I don't know how it's gonna go or what it's gonna look like. But I hope that I hope I'm satisfied. I know I will be eventually, you know. This is just the beginning. But yeah, so like, you know, another inspiration to do this was, or inspirations to do this project is because you know, there's times where I'll have conversations with people, you know, just like a one-on-one conversation, whether it be with a stranger or, you know, a cousin or sister, my mom, a friend. You know, we would have like these long hour conversations, and you know how sometimes when, or you know how, I don't know if you get, or I don't even know how how to explain this. You ever get into like a conversation and that person is really open-minded, like you are, if you're an open-minded person, and the conversation just gets so deep and not like in a serious way, but like deep in a way where you guys are like learning things from each other. You know, you kind of like, you know, you'll sit back and be like, wow, I didn't think of it. I didn't think of this that way, or, you know, and like, you know, I've had conversations like that, and I've always wanted to be like, you know, after we're done having these conversations, I'm just like, wow, if only I was able to record this, you know, because you'll say things that you didn't even know. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, it's like you learn, you know, how to explain this. You like learn from each other, you know, you talk with this person and you're just like, wow, I just learned, I just gained some knowledge and I wish I would have recorded that, you know. And so in a way, this is like me having a conversation with myself. These conversations, you know. But yeah, I want to talk about, you know, I want to kind of dabble in my childhood and what it was like, and you know, where I lived, and you know, and just how it was growing up. I think it's very important for people to kind of get a glimpse of my background. I want to talk about, excuse me, pause real quick. I want to talk about, you know, in middle school, I met someone that completely changed my life. That just, you know, kind of turned my world upside down. Not in a bad way, just in a very, you know, completely, I saw life differently after I met this person. And I definitely want to have a, you know, a video about that. I also want to talk about, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I am gay, and the reason I didn't want to say that right away, and maybe guys, I don't know, maybe it's obvious, and that I am gay, but I don't want this channel to be like towards gay people, you know. I want it to be for everyone. I want it to be for straight guys, straight girls, you know, older, younger, you know. I don't want it to be just for, specifically for, like, you know, gay people. But yeah, I want to have a video of me talking about, you know, when I first realized I was gay, and you know, when I came out, how I came out, you know, that's, you know, I've seen videos on YouTube of people, you know, telling their story, how they came out. And I think mine might be the most interesting. Just, it's very different, very different. And, you know, I'm excited to share that. And I also want to talk about relationship I have with my mother. You know, it's a very, very strong relationship, and you know, kind of went through hell and back together, and we've learned so much. I've learned so much from her. She's definitely an inspiration, and I want to have a video dedicated to her, you know, and in our relationship. I also want to have a video about my dad, because there's very important things, you know, about me and my dad's relationship that have a lot to do with today, with now, you know. And by the way, let me also say this. I really don't want to expose anyone. I don't want to put anyone down. I don't want to intentionally talk bad about people. That's not what this, you know, YouTube channel is going to be about. I'm not going to, you know, basically bash anyone, you know. I just want to be as honest as I can without putting anyone's like real personal information on here. I want to do that out of respect, you know, because that's the kind of person I am. I would want the same, you know, I would want someone to, like, if someone were to tell a story about me, you know, I have a YouTube channel or something like this, like, I would want them to be respectful to me, so I want to do the same. And some of these videos are going to be about people that I no longer talk to, or that are not in my life anymore. And I'm hoping that, you know, if they do come across this video, I want to let them know now that I mean no disrespect. I just I want them to know that they've had a big impact in my life, that, you know, changed a lot for myself, you know. And it's not going to be all bad, you know. There's definitely good things about these people. And so yeah, I mean, there'll be a video with my dad, about my dad, and there'll also be a video about the relationship I have with my siblings, you know, my sisters and my little brother. You know, a couple of relationships that I've had that were very, you know, essential. Essential, not you know what I mean, like important. And I also want to talk about my nicknames, you know. They're very important in this story, you know. I keep saying, you know. And yeah, I think I might be making these videos like 30 minutes long. I don't know how often I do want to record. I would like to do it maybe, you know, once or twice a month. We'll see how it goes, you know, after this video. Yeah. So, another thing, don't be afraid to like or dislike. You know, I'm gonna do my best to take criticism in any way, you know, good or bad, you know. If you have any suggestions, you can, you know, leave it in the comments. If you have any opinions about anything, please be free, be open with me, because I'm going to be open with you. And, you know, let's do this, you know. Yeah, and there's also probably gonna be videos where, like, let's say I'm talking about coming out, you know, and all of a sudden it reminds me of something. Like, it could be, I don't know, religion or something, and I might go that way, you know. I from talking about that to talking about that, you know, and that's just what it's gonna be, because I feel like that's when I could be at most honest, you know. I don't want this is not no script. I don't have a script to read. This is just coming from my heart, and that's why this is probably gonna start off really rough, like it is, you know. I'm gonna be saying like and I might repeat myself, and, you know, all that stuff, and I might say things that maybe you don't understand or that doesn't make any sense. But like I said, ultimately this video channel is for me, and I'm just sharing my story, you know, and hopefully it could help someone, really, because the videos that I've watched, you know, the YouTubers I had followed have said things, you know, or had videos where they had content that really helped me in some way. And I just hope I can do that, you know. 27 minutes. Yeah, so I'm going to try to do a lot of trimming and, you know, with this first video. Yeah, this is going to be a rough start, but I'm ready and I'm excited, you know. But yeah, this is gonna be about learning to love myself. This is the next challenge, you know. I started, you know, ever since I read that book, and I think it was like 2000. How old? 23. I was like, hold on, 24, 25. Like 5 years ago, when I was trying to attempt to write my book for the second time, that's when I read that book by Jennifer Lopez called True Love. And, you know, ever since I was inspired about learning to love myself, I kind of started to apply that in my personal life for the first time, you know. I was like, okay, I need to figure out what are the things I don't like about myself, literally, or literally I would write down things that I don't like about myself, or I'd kind of just make a list in my mind of all the things I don't like about me. And it was hard, it was scary. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. This is, it's not comfortable, but I feel like that's the first step. Those are the things you have to do. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to realize things that you don't want to realize. And and this is why I'm doing this too, is because there's things that I feel like I need to say. You can't always keep everything in your head, and I've always been that type of person where I've always kept all my ideas and everything in my head, and I think too much. That's the kind of person I am. And I feel like this YouTube channel, these videos are gonna help me, kind of release that, put that out there. Now we have room in my mind to add more new things, good things, Back to what I was saying. What was I saying? About learning to love yourself. Yeah, so, I mentally made a list in my mind of all the things I didn't like about myself, and slowly but surely, I whether it was a physical thing about me, or whether it was something in my personality that I didn't, like, or that I hated, and I would say what it was, either out loud or I'd write it down or whatever, and I would figure out why was it that I didn't like that, and I would work on it. I would try to see the good in it. I would try to figure out, like, okay, what can I do to like this about me? And I started doing that, with everything. And I was getting, some of it was difficult. There was things that I couldn't. I'm like, no, I'm never gonna love that about myself. Like, that's terrible, So I would kind of move on to the next thing. I wouldn't get stuck there. I wouldn't let it depress me. I'd be like, okay, so what's the next thing, And then sometimes I will come across something and I'll learn to like it. I'll be like, okay, I do love that about myself. That's a great thing, Then I started to look at the good traits that I have. I started to look at all the good things that I do like about myself, instead of constantly focusing on all the bad things, or the things that I didn't like about myself. So it's been a process, and there's been progress, and now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I've learned to love all of these things now. What's the next challenge? The next challenge is this. Recording myself. Like I said, I hated being on camera. I hated when people recorded me, or even like recorded my voice. I'm just like, oh, like I sound terrible. Why do I sound like that? I hate the way I look, and I need to overcome this, and hopefully this helps. Yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, or you have comments or ideas, or anything, whether it be good or bad, go ahead and share it. Put it in the comments and let me know. If you want a thumbs down, that's fine. Thumbs up, great. And if you want to share this video with other people that you think that it could help, or go ahead and do that. I'm cool with that. I also do have a Twitter and an Instagram and a Snapchat. Probably gonna try to put it on the YouTube channel. I'm not sure how the YouTube channel, how your homepage is supposed to be set up. I'm gonna figure that out. But I'll hopefully have the information on there somehow. That way you can check out my other social media stuff. I know this is a rough start, but I hope whoever is watching this gives me a chance. Excuse me. I keep burping because I'm nervous, and continues to, read and learn about my story, because it's really interesting. There's things you might learn, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to learn about other people, because then sometimes when you learn about other people, you learn things about yourself, and that's a great thing. So I want to end this video by saying, Ámate.